and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast, the only fan podcast to get all the ins and outs from the rugby world. Well, this week we have a very special guest, known all over the TikTok world with over 40,000 followers, over 1 million likes. His ball knowledge is second to none. It's Andy Nolan, also known as Rugby Nose. Thank you for coming on, mate. How are you getting on?
Oh, mate, I'm great. I'm doing better today. I was really depressed yesterday after the games, but thanks so much for having me.
I would have said welcome to RCP, but based off the results for both our teams, it's not the best welcome this week.
No. But I think, misery loves company, so.
It does, that's true. But I must say, from a neutral point of view, this could have been the most fun, exciting weekend of Six Nations.
Oh, I think so. Like, for both of those big games on the Saturday to go down to the wire the way that they did. And then France against Wales probably wasn't as tense, but there was plenty of rugby. It was still exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you went for the underdogs on a betting slip this week, you'd make a lot of money.
Yeah. There was a guy in my comment section. I didn't see it, but loads of people messaged me about it, who said that he bet 10 grand on Ireland to beat England. Yeah. I don't know what he was doing.
I want to know how they've got a spare 10 grand. First of all, but if you've got that amount of money to throw away, then fair play to you.
Well, yeah. More money than sense, I think.
Get straight into it then. Round 4 of the Guinness Six Nations didn't disappoint. On the Saturday, win in Rome, Italy versus Scotland. Italy getting a famous victory. First time in 11 years they've won in Rome, to our expense. 31-29. And you know what? Taking all the emotion out of being Scottish and this possibly being our best year, Italy deserved it. They were clinical. They were right up for it. It was so good to see Sebastian Negri return. Ross Vincent, young up-and-comer number 8, just absolutely dominant. I love the centre pairing of Tommaso Mantello and Juan Ignacio Bricks, or as they call them, Nacho Bricks on TV. I don't know why.
That was a new one for me as well. I've never seen that before.
And the debut boy, the golden boy, as we can call him, Lewis Liner getting a try, and it's just a great try.
Yeah. I mean, it was like fairy tales everywhere, wasn't it? Like
it was, absolutely was. And what's worse is we've had Sebastian Negri on the show. I messaged said before the game, just good luck, mate. And like in the back of my head, like you're gonna need it. And yeah, but no, you know what? The Italian team deserve it. The under-20s are really doing something special as well. Benetton are flying high. It's a good time to be into Italian rugby for sure.
It is a great time. Like, I mean, looking back just a couple of years, when it really looked like they didn't know where they were going, they didn't know what they were doing. They were just trying to pick up all the overseas players they could and try and bolster the squad. And now they've got like genuine class Italian players like Menoncello. I cannot believe he's 21 years old. He's so good for a guy from a allegedly lower down nation, but he's made of granite. He's unbelievable. And like you say, Negri seems to be getting back into form. Lamoureux I thought was amazing.
Fantastic.
And Vincent, I mean, it's the new is it Flamon who used to play for Loughborough, and every time it came up, every time he was focused on TV, we heard that he used to play for Loughborough. And the new one is Ross Vincent delivering pizzas. We're going to hear that every single time. I love them.
It's so good. But it just felt, I know it's a bit cliche, but Italy simply wanted it more. Scotland, I felt we were in cruise control for the first half for the most part. And then we just seemed to, I don't want to say switched off, because when we had ball in hand, we were still making the right plays, right decisions. It was just on the defensive side, or when the ball was a bit loose, it was a bit frantic. We were panicking. It's all what it feels like to me is we almost hit self-destruct. And not one player was to point the blame at. The whole team did it, essentially. And that's what hurt. Like, I've never seen Pierre Schumann give away so many scrum penalties.
Yeah. That's something worth highlighting for the Italians as well. You know, the set piece used to just be like a constant nightmare for them. And the lineout's still pretty shaky. But the scrum has improved an awful lot. And like at under 20s level, they're dominant in the scrum. Like they have massively fixed that issue with like the kind of specialist players that you need for that. So that's another really good sign. But I totally agree with you. Like, I think it's like it can be two things. On the one hand, it was a really inspirational, brilliant win for Italy, and then on the other hand, like Scotland threw it away. Like they had the game, and they should have seen it out. And it's hard, like you say, it's hard to say from the outside what it was exactly. Like put your finger exactly on it, but they've got to look at it happened against Italy. It almost happened against Wales, and they have to look at that now.
People in my comment section, and I get this every time something goes wrong in Scottish rugby, is the whole Townsend out thing. Personally, no, I don't think he should go because, I mean, we'll get into a bit more in depth later on, but there is still a Triple Crown up for grabs. We haven't won a Triple Crown since 1990, so I've never seen a Triple Crown in my lifetime. He's our longest serving head coach. He's arguably our most successful head coach, bar the Six Nations title. But like we've never went 4 on the bounce against England. We never beat Wales for 20 odd years. So all these legends never got the job done. People want Vern Cotter back. Now, I like Vern Cotter, but he didn't do much apart from a controversial quarterfinal in 2015. But apart from that, didn't do much. So for me, no, Gregor Townsend should not get the sack. I think we just need to work on the mentality because I don't think we've ever had it this close. So we don't know how to prepare ourselves. And it's like anything new. You kind of get a bit excited and overjoyous, and you will essentially make an arse of it somewhere down the line, yeah. And it's more funny now because Finn Russell got interviewed before the Six Nations. Is it Scotland's year? And he said, no, it'll be next year. And he said it as a joke. But yeah, he said it was like, our whole thing was we couldn't win 2 games on the bounce. We've done that. Then we couldn't win 3 games on the bounce. Technically, we've still not done that. And he's like, so once you've done that, he's like, I think we're still a year or 2 away from winning it. So there you go.
I mean, that's a sensible way to look at it, right? Like, it feels like once you got one over on England, right, and you beat them, what was it, 4 years in a row? You beat them.
It is now, yeah.
That's huge for Scotland, right? Like in my lifetime, never remember that before the last couple of years. But it felt like because England were at a bit of a low ebb, I've always thought like Townsend, Scotland, and they've been really close a couple of times, but they just needed that big statement win that you can use to kind of build on and move to the next one. And like you almost got the All Blacks for while they were still in that kind of dip when Ireland beat them in the summer, and then they came in November and you very nearly beat them.
Really?
And games like that, I think if you win them, can really change the course of a team. But I'm with you. Like I think with Townsend, it's like it's not nobody disagrees with selection, right? It's not like there's a ton of other players out there who should be in and should be playing. He's picking at least close enough to the best 15 players. The tactics seem to work for the team. He's given Finn Russell the keys. If the team go out there and lose control of matches, he's not doing that.
Thank you.
And I think, you know, there's an argument in saying, because he's been there a long time, maybe there's an argument to say, well, maybe they just need a refresh. But I don't know. Unless you've got someone lined up and they've got a great plan for what the team should look like and they know where to take it, I don't see why you would just get rid when he's been consistently delivering pretty good results by Scottish standards. So, and you know, he's had 2 World Cups where they were in kind of groups of death, which has been really unfortunate.
2019 there was a lot going on behind the pitch. Like Finn and Gregor had that big fallout.
Yeah, of course.
There was a lot of ins and outs there.
Well, 2023 was a group of death. Like being in with Ireland and South Africa was just like, well, what are you going to do?
2023 sucked. I still, to this day, I still don't see how 3 of the top 5 ranked sides are in the same pool. But
crazy. But you know, you can't judge Townsend on that.
No.
So I definitely think like this idea that you can just change the coach and bring in someone new and everything will get better. I mean, look at the first year that England had under Borthwick. Exactly. Look at the first 6 nations, I should say. Yeah. You know, it's be careful what you wish for sometimes.
But the thing that makes me laugh is when people say, "Oh, they want Townsend out," they never follow up with who they would have.
Yeah, yeah.
With who?
I think it's just an online thing though, isn't it? Like it's just a
Um,
social media thing. Like people just have the knee-jerk reactions. And I reckon most of those people wouldn't stand by it. If you came back to them a couple of days later and you were
yeah,
able to say to them personally, do you really think you should be sacked? They'd be like, ah no, I was just upset. Um, but yeah, I agree. Unless you've got a great idea, a great coach, and you know where it's going, you definitely shouldn't just react to kind of freak results.
I agree. I completely agree. But you did mention the man that we're going to next, Steve Borthwick.
Mm.
Arguably his best win as England head coach. Famous
Oh,
victory.
I think by a long way.
Yeah, 23-22 over Ireland. Sorry, my condolences.
Oh, look.
But what a game! Like it felt like whatever they've been trying to do under Felix Jones with the whole blitz. Obviously, again, like you said, it doesn't. It's not going to happen instantly. It started to happen there, and we've seen it, and it worked. It was great. It was
Yeah, it
really good.
clicked. It
Yeah,
clicked. I think, like, on reflection, so I'm not trying to minimize this. England were the better team for like the vast majority of
yeah.
the game. They were
Mm-hmm.
streets ahead. Everything they tried worked. They had a plan for Ireland and it worked. It was, but I think like the power of that early try that they scored is huge because they've just conceded 3 points. They need a bit of a nerve settler. And then Calvin Nash knocks himself out trying to tackle Tommy Freeman. And then Ollie Lawrence has sweated Jack Crowley off like a mosquito or something and gone over in the corner. It's as easy as you like. And all of a sudden, all those nerves are gone for England. It's not like, is this going to be a long day? Are we going to struggle to score? It's none of that. It's done. It's happened. Ollie Lawrence, who had a shocker against Scotland, on a personal level, was thrilled for him to have a good game against Ireland because I think he's a great player.
Yes, big fan of
And
all of them.
yeah, and it was great to see him score. Obviously, I wish it had been against somebody else, but the way the plan, I think sometimes you just have to stand back and appreciate like the way the plan came together for England was brilliant. I don't think there
Yeah.
was a single player had a bad performance, and some of the new guys they've got in there,
Mm.
I am genuinely afraid of like the next 4 years and the next World Cup if an England team has that personnel.
What I was thinking, the minute George Furbank got that try, and again, beautifully worked.
Mm.
I almost kind of sat back like, I'm glad we've got England out of the way.
Yeah,
Because you know, like, now it's starting to click. You're watching it, and you're like, "Ooh, like we've actually got them." We had them when it was still a bit rocky. So now,
yeah.
going forward, you can never write off England. It's England. But what, in your opinion, what do you think went wrong for Ireland? Because it was a very strong lineup.
Well, a couple of things. Like on the one hand, genuinely the physicality that England brought and the speed of the breakdown. And, you know, we've been waxing about Joe McCarthy in Ireland all tournament. You know, what a
Yeah,
man, what a giant. George Martin, I didn't see Joe McCarthy.
yeah,
George Martin was so good in that second row. And like so many of those one on one battles, I think the English players won. Like Chesham at 6 was fantastic. O'Mahony at 6 got himself a yellow card and you
yes,
could argue cost Ireland the game. Like those individual one on one battles, nothing against Peter O'Mahony's amazing. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
you know,
No,
these moments in the game can really change what happens. And I just think England won all of those. The front row, like I was arguing with people in the comments before the match because I said I think England are going to edge us in the scrum, and people couldn't believe it. And it's like when they've got one of Cole or Marler on the field, they've got one of the best scrummaging front rows out there. Jamie George is seriously good still.
I think people forget that you don't need to be like an agile prop. If you can hold a scrum, that's your job. That's why like the likes of like Franz Maherber is so renowned.
Yeah.
You're not moving them.
Nope. And by the way, that South African scrum wrecked everyone they came into contact with at the World
Yes.
Cup, except for England for an hour and New Zealand. Those are the
Yeah.
only two teams that could stand up to that scrum. And England did that with Dan Cole and Joe Marler, you know, OAPs by rugby standards. And
Yeah.
what that shows you is these guys, their technique is so good, they're strong, and they're mentally, they just don't go away. And it's hard to get one over on them. So,
But that's why you get the likes of like Cian Healy, VP Nell for Ireland and so on
mhm.
stuff. It's not because of talent. it's because when they come into a scrum, they're solid. They're not moving.
Yeah. So I think set piece, I think physical battles, like England were really up for it. Ireland were just maybe a couple of % off. And then the third thing, and it really did backfire, was the 6-2. The selection, everything went wrong.
So badly.
It could have gone wrong. Oh, like that, playing, like Frawley's not a winger, so playing most of the game with him on the wing is a disaster. When they had to bring on Murray and put Gibson Park on the wing, they did really well considering all of the adversity they had in the game, I think, to come so close to winning it.
Totally.
Especially when you consider England's levels. Like, I think England, I haven't seen them on that level in a long time. Physically, they were at that level against South Africa in the World Cup, but they didn't do anything with the ball. They didn't even try to. And on Saturday, they were dangerous when they attacked. They should have had a couple more tries, honestly. So, yeah, I think sometimes you just have to hold your hand up and be like, in basically every department, we were second best. But the team will learn from it, And also, everyone needs to remember, I know we've won at Twickenham a few times over the last kind of 5 years, and I think people have gotten a bit complacent about it. We never used to win there. It used to be very, very hard to win there.
Just wanted to say that because obviously you're a bit older than our viewers on TikTok. So I'm like, this whole 4 in a row that we were on about earlier for Scotland and England, I was like, I grew up. I never seen a Calcutta Cup growing up.
Yeah.
It was never even thought of.
Mate, my memories of England when I was younger is Martin Johnson coming to Dublin, standing on the red carpet so the president couldn't stand on it, and then still battering us, still scoring 50 against us after that. Like, that used to be how it was. We used to get absolutely ragdolled by them. So, losing to them isn't a crisis. They do seem like they're on the way back up, which is good for the championship, good for Northern Hemisphere rugby. But hopefully we beat them next year.
Always next year.
Exactly.
Just before we move on to the Sunday's game, just how good was Ben Earl?
Oh, mate. Did you see the stat? He carried for a third of England's yards. Incredible.
And I loved his interview after the game. We've been deemed the worst English team in years, and we're doing all right now, aren't we? I was like, I love it's almost like the Ellis Genge one in 2020.
Yes.
Called everyone a sausage. And does Marcus Smith start next week?
I mean, I think he probably should.
Yeah.
Although, well, actually, because they're away in Paris, aren't they? Or in France. Maybe if you're away, you start forward and you spring Smith from the bench. But I would think, going forward, if that on Saturday is the blueprint for how England are going to play, Smith should be first choice. Because with that kind of front foot ball, he's so dangerous.
Yeah.
And that is a scary prospect. And England who play like that regularly is a really scary prospect.
You're going to have to learn and adapt again to see how to beat them. And
and
then we had just all the fun and frenzy on the Sunday. Wales versus France. Now, I had Wales by 3. And for a little bit of that game, it looked like that was actually going to happen. It looked like Gatland, with this new, fresh youngster team, was finally clicking. Because France, let's be honest, France have been absolutely woeful this whole campaign. Looked very lost. And then France decided to show up. And a little magician, not Anton de Pont, Nolan Laguerre, he's a walking highlight reel within himself.
Right. That reverse pass is going to be on Six Nations montages forever. Until you and I are long gone, we're going to be seeing that on TV.
just the thought, the confidence to even pull that off, or to even think about pulling it off in a game.
Right. Imagine the earful you get if you throw that and it's an intercept. Someone walks in.
You'd never hear the end of it.
No, you probably never play for France again. That's that kind of error. But fair play to him. He pulled it off.
I think the big thing that got France to win in the end was the big boy bench, as I'm calling it. Ronan Talfafanua, George Colombi, I think Richard said that, but he's a big lad.
I cannot imagine what it's like running into that. He's huge.
There's better things to do on a Sunday than run straight into him. But Emmanuel Miafo making his debut, he's freakishly big for a second row.
He really is. To be fair, I backed France to win, and I thought they'd win reasonably comfortably. And the main reason was when I saw Mifu and Flamont back in that second row. Because I think when they don't have those big lads, they really struggle to get that quick ball that they need. And, you know, that French way that this team has where it's just wave after wave of attacks coming around the corner. If you don't have big lads smashing way beyond the ruck, you don't get that. And they had it on Sunday in absolute spades. And like you say, so many big lads on the bench. It must be so demoralizing when Mifu's walking off and you're like, oh, jeez, finally. And then Tafanua walks off.
Oh, that's not even fair.
He's almost bigger.
I think he is bigger, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's taller. He's definitely heavier, I want to
he's
say.
Definitely, he's heftier, isn't he? I think Mifu's maybe a bit more of an athlete.
I'm going to find out, man.
A bit quicker on his feet, but yeah. How good did the 12 look as well? Deportier. I think
Very,
his name right.
Very impressive with him, yeah.
Yeah, really good game. But I feel for Wales. I do. They're in the right idea. They are starting. It's not going to be an instant fix. So it is a very new team. They had a lot of the experienced players just kind of leave them behind. And you know what? Warren Gatland's hands were tied, and I'm actually quite impressed with the squad he's put out, with the way they're playing. Again, it's not been complete, but like they managed to do a really good second half against Scotland. They had a really good first half against England. Good bits against Ireland. A good 60 minutes against France. So now, next week, ideally, you want that full 80. I'll tell you what, I'd worry for them next week because I think
It's going to be tasty, though.
Sorry?
It's going to be tasty, though.
Oh, mate, massively. But I worry for Wales because, like, the way they're playing at the moment, I think every game past 60 minutes, they're a complete non-entity. They have to do, the way they're trying to play, they have to do so much defending and they do so much hard carrying for such little gain that by the time you get to the hour mark, they're knackered. And also, they've got the problem because, as you say, it's like a shell of a squad. When they bring the replacements on, there isn't anyone who's really played Test rugby there before, and that's really difficult. Nobody could do anything about that. But I think I just think they have to kick the ball more. I know Gatland hates it, but I just think they have to try and get themselves further up the field without expending so much energy. Because from the outside, because they've got guys like Reffel and Wainwright and Jenkins and Mann, and like they're all heart, and they will give you. They go so deep, and it's amazing to watch. You can't help but love them. But so many times, even yesterday, you know, you're watching them and you're like, why are you running hard carrying just outside your own 22? Like, just get the ball out,
just kick it away.
Yeah, get yourself up the field. Yeah, but you know, I'm not an international coach.
Oh yeah, that's another thing that I noticed that people say online. I don't know if you've ever had it. If you even slightly slander a player, you always get one person in your comments like, they're better than you. Well, yes, I imagine they would be.
That should go without saying. Yes, all of these people that I'm talking about could kill me with their bare hands. We all know that.
It's such a throwaway comment. But shall we do some predictions and preview for Super Saturday? Because it really is all up for grabs next week. So we're starting with Wales versus Italy. I don't want to even call it a wooden spin because it doesn't feel like a wooden spin game.
It will if Wales lose it. I think if Wales win, I think everybody comes out with a reasonable amount of dignity. You know, Italy should have won 2 games. Wales got the 1 win. But if Wales lose, like, the knives will be out for Gatland. Like, I think people will really overreact.
Probably.
We all know he had a really difficult job on. You know, I think everyone should bear that in mind if they do lose next week.
I mean, we all know what happened the last time Italy came to Cardiff.
Yeah.
And this Italian team's so much better across the board.
So much better.
Yeah.
But I guess the big question for them is, like, can they maintain a level after a huge emotional weekend? You know, I think getting those big wins when you're a team that never wins, it's exhausting. You know, because you're not used to that feeling. Yeah. But I fancy Italy. I don't know why. I just do. I think they're more creative.
I'm in the same page as
Yeah.
you. I think looking at both, like you said it. I mean, this Italian team is fit.
Mm.
They showed that against Scotland. Like Scotland's bench was knackered,
Mm.
and it's just like, "Yep, keep coming." I'm like, oh, "What's happening here?" And then, like you said, obviously Wales, once they get past the 60, because of the way they play, they're absolutely burnt out as well. So I think I can actually see it. And I don't even think it's going to come down to a last minute kick. I think Italy might get a comfortable win, and I'm actually going to say Italy by 12.
I'm I'm broadly with you. I don't think I'm going to predict as much because they are
Okay.
away, but I think Italy by 6.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And then me and you's not friends for this one, Andy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
What could have should have been potentially been a Grand Slam decider is now you're chasing the title, we're chasing the Triple Crown because we can't actually chase you for the title.
Yeah.
Points difference is ridiculous.
Can I say something actually about that? Should have been the slam. Again, with some distance from Saturday. Because when we lost, so I'm going home for the game next week.
All
So
right,
when we
nice.
lost, obviously the first thing I'm thinking is like, oh my God, like that would have been a magical day. Like I was going to
Yeah,
be there for history, and now the history's gone. But now that I've had a bit of distance from it, I'm so glad that the tournament is such that you can't predict like that. Like the
yeah,
idea of the Six Nations being a procession is just not what anybody wants to see. And the way it was being talked about in the Irish media, like even I was getting tired of it. And they're saying what I want to hear. Uh, so
it's
I am kind of glad in a way that the apple cart was upset and that there isn't just going to be this crowing about this team. Uh,
I get a lot of Irish fans in my comments. Some of them make very good points and just simply love the game and they're like, all the
mm.
best we can, blah, blah, blah. And then, like everyone, you get the occasional few that slips through, like, oh, there's no way that you can think this. I'm like, why not? Like, sometimes, like when you were going on this big streak last year, and I was like, Scotland's going to beat Ireland in the World Cup. I always say Scotland's going to win. It's built into me. It's back your team. Like,
Yeah.
you can you can call it rose tinted glasses, you could call it delusion, whatever, or just passion. I like to go for the passion.
Mm.
But people are like, there's no way that Scotland are beating Ireland. I'm like, why not? Every streak has to end eventually. Might as well be us. That's how I was kind of approaching it. So yeah, I think both teams are going to get an absolute bollock on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
Because we just know, especially Andy Farrell, we know what he's like. I don't think the team sheet that we put out against Italy was the issue. I think it did come down to player mentality. So I think a lot of that's going to be focused this week of almost maybe trying to put us in difficult situations during
Mm.
training. Right. How do you get out of that? Almost problem solve this week.
Mm.
I know what we can do. And I do think like we are on the cusp of something beyond special. Like that would live with me for the rest of my life.
Mm.
And I think Saturday would be the perfect time to put that first like step in place and get us our first triple crown in 34 years.
Mm.
So it's not going to be pretty. There might be some glimpses of beauty. Somebody's going to score a wonder try from either side that'll get talked about next week. But the rest of it, it's going to be physical. There's going to be daft mistakes across the board. The scrum might collapse a good few times. The lineouts might get scrappy. There might be fisticuffs. There might be yellow cards. There might
there
be a
will
red card. I don't know.
there will
But
definitely be some fisticuffs. Well, some handbags. There'll definitely be
handbags
some
anyway.
handbags. There always is.
Good
Yeah,
old
yeah.
grab and hook and
Yeah.
shove, yeah. But I know what we can do. I'm fully convinced that now is the time to get it done. Lift that Dublin curse as well. It's been a while since we've won over in Dublin. I'm going to say Scotland by 3, and I'm going to take a deep breath after that. And I'll let you. I'll let
I was
you
there.
say.
I was there the last time you won in Dublin.
There you go.
I was there that day. It was a weird day. Um, Well, I remember it was like a party atmosphere because we were playing Scotland, and it was really sunny and really hot, like for the time of year,
Yeah.
and so everyone
Yeah.
was having a great time. And then as the game went, it was just everyone slowly realizing like, oh, we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose. Yeah, I can't. Scotland had a centre. I've forgotten his name now. He was unreal that day. I think he was playing 12.
No, I want to say, is it Graham Morrison? Was that who was 12 for us?
Possibly, I can't remember. But anyway, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
This week, I think it's a real interesting one for Ireland because they kind of got undone at like by the thing that they're the most proud of. I think what they're really proud of as a team is like physicality, relentlessness, like never taking a step back.
Yeah.
And England got under their skin a bit and undermined that. So this week, I guess they've got to try and get themselves back to that level. I do think, Andy Farrell, like you say, he won't. There'll be no holding back on the feedback, right? They'll have tons to learn from that game, but he's not going to panic. He's not going to throw his toys out the pram. He's a very steady character. He's going to be saying to people like, this is your opportunity to put it right? To prove that you've still got all of those gifts. It's one game.
Yep.
Nothing falls apart off one game. The thing I'm the most interested for is if they go 6-2 again, because part of me thinks like, if you've decided this is part of your identity as a team, you have to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if occasionally things will go wrong and it will cost you. And you just have to accept that because you're saying overall, we think the benefits outweigh it. So fascinated to see if they do that. But yeah, I think it's going to be like a real test match. Like, I think, well, I mean, it's not long since at the World Cup, it was a blowout, right? Like, I don't think it's going to be like that.
Just hard now, like every chance you get this.
Sorry. Well, I'm trying to trying to draw the comparison. I think it's going to be closer. I still think Ireland will have enough to win it, but like I'm expecting Ireland to be a little bit shaky. I think the confidence will have been knocked a little bit last week, but I still think Ireland should get it done. Like I'm going to say Ireland by 10, but it won't be a comfortable 10, like maybe
I go even,
maybe a score at the end that kind of opens things out. But I reckon it's going to be like really frantic because I know we've had your number for a long time, but a few of those games in Dublin, you were a Stuart Hogg drop ball or a non-thrown pass away from winning those matches. So you've been close. I'm not trying to rub your nose in it. I'm trying to analyze what's happening here. I think everyone in Ireland has this perception like, oh, we've got Scotland's number. Like we're always going to beat them. But the truth of that actually is that like some of those games have been pretty close. And if we're off our game, that Scotland are the kind of team will pull your pants down 100%. So yeah, I think we'll take it, but I am a bit nervous about it.
I want to see a lot of the team bounce back from the Italy game. I want to see how Duhan bounces back because he went from a hat-trick hero on the cusp of being an all-time try scoring record to basically obsolete in the apart from almost committing child abuse on both. So, but apart from that, it was very quiet. So I hope he can get let loose because, like, once you let him loose, it's very hard to stop.
Why do you think that happened? Like, why do you think he was so quiet? Why couldn't they get him into the game?
I think the most part, the ball just didn't go his direction for some reason. So I just felt very. I mean, he had some like half breaks, but it wasn't the Duhan break. And then you could see him in the second half come into like I call it inside outside centre, so like that third centre option.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, but see when you're doing it just to try and get a hold of the ball, it's not working. And I felt like he was just trying to like, look, give me the ball. I'm sick of this now. Give me the ball. But I'd like to see him get loose. I'd like to see him match, or if not break the try scoring record. I'm wanting to see a Finn masterclass. I feel like Finn's been very solid the whole campaign, but we've not had like Wales last year. It was the Finn Russell show.
Yeah, he was amazing in that game.
I kind of want to see something, maybe not on that score margin. Obviously, I'd be very happy with it, but just something where you can sit back and go, "Wow!" Like Finn Russell, breathtaking. just one of those performances, and I really hope we get it done. I don't want to. I don't want to have this really amazing tournament where we were so close, and however you feel about the France game, we were that close.
Yeah.
I don't want us to finish on 2 wins. It doesn't feel like this team deserves 2 wins.
Mm. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I think it's mad to think, like, let's say France pull a performance together. I don't think they will. I think England will probably win. But imagine if they did. And then you've got like France beating England, England having beaten Ireland, Scotland having beaten England. You've got like all the top teams in the Six Nations just circling around each other. Everyone can beat everyone. That's a fantastic place to be in.
Like, it is, absolutely is. Next year, I can confidently say, with a round still to play, that 2025 is going to be the most competitive. There's not going to be a throwaway game. There's almost not going to be a chance to get like youngsters or debutants in. It's going to be, this is the strongest team.
Yeah, feels like this year was the time for that. And maybe if you didn't do that, you might just have missed the boat, because everyone's going to be a year into the cycle come next year, much more settled, much more sure of themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's mad how 4 years is such a short time in rugby. Like, you play 10, 12 games a year. It's no time at all. Yeah.
But even when you look at like famous victories from so many years ago and you see the team sheets, and I'm like, oh God, like what? But the final game for the 2024 Six Nations, Le Crunch, France versus England. And it doesn't even feel like Le Crunch. It feels like, I don't know. I know what England after last week, I know what they can do. And if they keep that, it's going to be a very fun day for the Roses, for sure.
I always look at motivations,
Yeah.
And for me, France are going to be going into that game next week just trying not to step on the banana skin. They've not had a great tournament. It's the final game. It would be a big headline if they lost to England. Dupont's going great in the sevens,
like, he's just having fun with it.
Yeah, mentally, I think that French camp, with all the rumors, they're like, God, please, just don't, we can't lose to the English. And meanwhile, England are going to have the press coverage of last year's game all over the dressing room walls. They're fire in their belly after beating Ireland. And this is another opportunity to be like, everybody said you were shit. Just go out there and show them what you can do. And I sort of worry that England are just going to be on a heater and they're going to blow them away, because France's confidence looks brittle at the moment. And if they make the kind of defensive errors that they made against Wales, and they're that easy to break through, I think England are going to have a field day.
Yeah. Not really one for back in England. And that's not an anti-England. Just off recent performances, it's been very much like they've not shown me much. But now, you keep George Martin in seconds row, you keep Ben Earl at 8.
Mate, George Martin's like he looks like a genuine like wonder player. Like, that guy looks like a, wrap him in cotton wool, only have him play 2 or 3 really big games a year, like 4 games max, and just preserve him as much as you can. Yeah.
Keep him on ice. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, keep George Furbank at fullback. I'm a big fan of Freddie Stewart, but the way they're playing now, you need quicker players, and Furbank is a lot quicker than Stewart.
Yeah, but they've got horses for courses now. When they play South Africa or Wales, they can pick Stewart, and when they play literally anyone else, they can pick Furbank, and they've got the perfect setup.
Faye Waboso on the wing, he's
mate. Honestly,
I'm so glad I'm an extra fan.
Some men, like, I'm so jealous of that man. He's a pro athlete. He's going to be a doctor. Like, I mean, what else could be going right in that guy's life? Did you see his post-match interview?
No, I missed the post-match.
Oh, mate, he comes off so well. Like,
good.
Really
ticks all the boxes.
Really down to earth guy.
Tall, strong, good looking.
Yeah. Don't you just hate him?
Freakish athlete. Very smart. Obviously, if you're going to be a doctor, very work driven and kind. Great. So I'm going to say I'm going to say England by. I can see England winning it by 16 points. I feel like they could.
Wow.
That's even saying that like from a week. The difference a week makes is unreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can see England getting a very comfy win over in France.
I think it might be another classic. I'm going to say England by 3, and it's going to be like a
Okay.
real nail biter.
Nail biter.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, we're going to quickly move across to the Southern Hemisphere just briefly because my predictions just haven't been right at all this weekend. I think I got one across the board
Wow.
because I said Scotland to win. That didn't happen. I said Ireland were going to win. Didn't happen. I said Wales were going to win. That also didn't happen. Yeah, it's not been a good week for me. I'm not going to lie to you, Andy. But started on the Friday, Moana Pacifica versus the Rebels, 29-23 to the Rebels. But we have a new try-scoring king. All hail King Julian Surveyor, 61 tries, and I don't think he's getting stopped. And he's also now an inside centre.
Yeah, I saw that.
Possible option for the All Blacks, maybe.
Are you gonna? Is anyone going to unseat Jordy Barrett though?
I thought possibly you could always have it as a backup.
I was there at the 2015 World Cup when the All Blacks played France in the quarterfinals. And Julian Surveyor was just monstering people. I've never seen an individual performance like that. We were right in that corner where he shook off like 3 French guys for his hat-trick try. I've never seen an individual performance like that. He was terrifying.
Just a freak unleashed.
An absolute freak unleashed. How old is he
now? Just quickly check. I know he's in his 30s. I know he's getting...
they're always younger than you think, those All Blacks players, because they get into the team when they're like 19 and then they hang around for a while.
Oh no, he is a bit of an old boy. He's 33.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So
but he can still move.
Yeah. The bus still keeps rolling. I was so close to getting this one right. Waratahs versus the Highlanders finished 23-21 to the Highlanders. Waratahs missed the last kick of the game. It was so heartbreaking. It was good. It was a good game. Fair play to the Highlanders. They really impressed me this season, but
it's not a bad result for the Waratahs though. To get that close to the Highlanders is pretty good.
I mean, they beat the Crusaders last week, so that's kind of why I went. That's why I went for Waratahs. Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure we'll get onto it. But what's going on with the Crusaders? Is it just losing the coaching ticket and stuff?
I think it's just the new coaching. They don't have.
And they lost Moana as well. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They lost a lot of the senior players, so I think. I don't know. It's like every time you get
a rebuild. Yeah, it's fair enough.
Rebuild. I mean, they won 7 in a row. It's time for someone else to win it. Speaking of which, Fijian Drua getting another famous victory over the Crusaders. They did it last year in Fiji by 1 point. They did it again this year by 10 points. And I said it last week, but I'm absolutely in love with Celestino Ravo-Tumada. He is electric. I've never seen a winger just beat defenses that easy. Doesn't always score, but the breaks he makes and the offloads, he's almost like the perfect player. And it's just so fun to watch. Brumbies versus the Force, Coles 22-19. Not much really to say about that. It was a fun game. Got this one wrong. I thought the Blues were going to run away with it, but the Hurricanes said nope. 29-21. Cam Roigard just casually beating 9 defenders.
Mate, how good does he look?
He's just fantastic. I think now that Aaron Smith's out of the picture, Roigard's definitely putting his hand up like, no, I'm that number 9 jersey.
He looks like a guy. All right.
And lastly, another one I wasn't really expecting, but the Reds 25-19 win over the Chiefs. Fraser McBride, 19 tackles, 0 missed.
Wow.
Just freakish efforts all around. Big weekend for the underdogs across the world.
Yeah.
Quickly predict week 4 for Super Rugby. Starting off with the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes. As you're our guest, I'll let you predict it.
You got to go Canes, haven't you? With what's going on with the Crusaders.
I think this season, I'm going to say Canes. No, you're first, sorry.
I'll say Canes by 10. Yeah, Canes by 10.
Okay. I think it might be a bit closer. I'll say Canes by 7. but not much in it.
Close enough.
Rebels host the Reds. It's an interesting one because Rebels are really flying at the moment, considering all the issue they've got away from on field. Andrew Kill is running back the years, which is really nice to see. I can see the Rebels winning it by. I'll say another close game. I'll say by 5.
That one has like a 3 points either way feel to me. I'm not sure. Yeah, it feels like a coin flip to me. To be fair, I don't know my Aussie teams as well as I should.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'll say a coin flip. I'm not going to make a prediction.
No, that's fine. That's all good. Western Force hosting Moana Pacifica. Force are such a strange team this year. They've got really good talent. They've got Nick White and Ben Donaldson at halfback. But Moana Pacifica's got like a lot of younger Pacific Islanders, and then obviously Julian Silvera just turn it up in the centre. I'd like to see Pacifica get another win. So I'll say then by 9. Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna go. I think Force being at home will get it done. I think by
Fair.
6.
Fair. I could see that happening, to be fair.
Yeah.
Highlanders versus the Brumbies.
Ooh, yeah.
It's in the greenhouse. I know that's not what it's called.
Yeah, I have no idea what you mean.
Forsyth Bank Stadium or something in Otago.
Okay.
But it looks like a greenhouse. Like apparently it's very hot. Like if it's a really sunny day there.
Oh really?
It just heats up because
this is new for me. Oh wow, yeah, it really does look like greenhouse.
There you go. See, for home advantage, Highlanders by 8.
Yeah, I'd go Highlanders by 10. I think they'll win that.
Fair enough. This game could be a lot of fun from a neutral point of view. Chiefs hosting Fijian Drua.
Oof. Yeah, could be a lot of fun, but I don't love it for the Drua. I think. Yeah, I think they might. You'd think like high scoring, but they might take a bit of a beating, right?
Yeah. I think Chiefs by about 20 points.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
But it'll be like 42.
40-20, yeah, exactly. They'll do enough, the Drua, like to make it feel a bit more respectable.
And the final game for round 4, the Waratahs host the Blues.
Yeah, Blues.
I'm gonna go Blues as well. It's gonna be tight though. I'm gonna say by like 4, 5.
Blues by 6, I'm thinking.
Yeah, fair.
I'll go with you.
Just to round off, any news?
A lot of people talking about Antoine Frisch.
Yes, that is an interesting one. So, for those that don't know, Munster centre Antoine Frisch, Irish qualified, but might I add, has been called up to the French squad.
Yeah.
Again, we kind of spoke about this the other night when messaging, but maybe don't look into it too much because like the likes of like Lewis Lynn were in England camps before getting Kelly Cap. Cam Redpath was in the summer test squad. Well, training squad, sorry. 6 months later, he was in a Scotland jersey. It doesn't mean much right now. It's just very interesting because surely, if he does get capped, he's got to go to top 14 then.
You would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to play. But like, I think for both national setups, I don't think he's that close to getting in the team. You know, like, I think the makeup of the Ireland squad now, it looks like we've got Aki and McCluskey are our options at 12, and Henshaw and Ringrose are the options at 13, and that's how they want to proceed. So they've got 2 specialists for each position. And then, you know, Osborne at Leinster. I think the reason it's such a big story, though, the Frisch thing, is Munster always feel criminally underrepresented in the national squad. And Munster fans, they can't understand why more Munster players aren't getting capped all the time. And they look at Frisch and they think, like, because he is class. I'm not trying to talk him down. but they look at him and they're like, how is this guy not getting a chance? When they see it, it's that like all you have to do is be 19 and play for Leinster and you'll get in the Ireland team. You'll get a cap. But I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like when national teams go around and cap everyone they can just to rule them out for other countries. I don't think that's good practice.
If you're going to cap them, actually cap them and use them.
Is he in the plans? That's the question.
If he's not, plans, great. Yeah. If
he's not, let him go and play in France. Like we should all want the best for him, And if that's what it looks like, then yeah. But I think, especially like rugby Twitter is going to put a magnifying glass on stuff like that,
Yeah. It's a weird one. I didn't expect this. I don't think anyone expected to see British name in that mix. But you know what? If he goes and he gets capped, fair play. He's obviously deserved it.
Yeah. Oh, I think his performances for Munster have been really good.
He's been solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just think, if you've got Ringrose and Henshaw, it's going to be a struggle to break in with those two.
Plus, there's another name I'd like to throw out there. Another Munster lad, but only because he's a friend of the show. I don't know if he's eligible yet, but Alex Nankivell.
I don't think he's eligible yet, but yeah, he looks mustard.
He is. He's just class. He's a big brute that can kick.
Is he a Kiwi?
Yeah. Maybe he played for the Maori All Black. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I love watching him. He looks absolutely brilliant.
So good.
He's got to be in the plans. They've got to be trying to convince him.
I'd like to think Alex is in the plans.
Yeah.
He's still young enough, anyway, as well. It's not like he's on at Munster to retire or anything.
No, exactly.
I'm not saying he won't retire at Munster, but I mean, like, he's not there for like a year.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's not getting his payday, so he can go home. Yeah. He's there to stay. Yeah.
Guy Pepper's been called up to the England squad.
I saw that.
The Newcastle Falcon back row. I'm all for it. Feel hard done by for Newcastle because they have been struggling. But Guy Pepper's a great player. And it's in place of Chandler Cunningham South, which is a big loss.
Yeah.
Big physical specimen. But Guy Pepper's one of those back rowers that stick their head in dark places, gets all the
his tackle stats are amazing.
Oh yeah,
he's
free.
That Cunningham South though,
special.
Really special. My missus is a big Quins fan, so we watch Quins all the time. And God, as soon as I hadn't really seen much of him when he was at London Irish, and as soon as he started getting into the team for Quins, it's that moment where you're like, where has this guy been? This guy's amazing. Like the size of him, number one, he's so athletic for someone that big. It's a real loss that he's not fit for the next game.
I think with a game like France, he would have been licking his lips at it. But hey, take your opportunities when given. So
absolutely. Good luck to Guy. Hopefully, he manages to get near the test team.
Yeah, I'd like to see him for sure. But that's the rugby. We've Six Nations, Super Rugby. Some news. It's not been the most dramatic news week, but it's also not a bad thing.
No.
It makes our job a bit easier. But
and with rugby, when there's massive news, I feel like it's usually bad. Like usually it's something embarrassing or something's gone wrong.
I lost count of how many times we had to say, "Oh, it's not looking good for this Premiership team." It was just, I guess, sad, and it kind of makes all the episodes depressing. But it's not been a depressing episode. It's been really fun,
except for the rugby.
Apart from the result, but the actual breakdown and talk of it, it's all been good.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week for to break down Super Saturday, round 4 of Super Rugby. And that's probably it. Maybe a sevens tournament here or there, depending on what's on. We'll see. But Andy, thank you so much for agreeing to come on, and you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'd love to come back.
There you go. That's always what we want to hear. Just before we go, the latest interview is now available on YouTube, on Spotify. Exeter Chiefs legend Gareth Steenson. Now, if you've watched the show long, you will know I'm an Exeter Chiefs fan. I'm a big, diehard. He was there like my whole time of being a supporter. So yeah, I was a bit nervous, but it was very good, very insightful, big family man, and just very driven. Even
Did
as a
he have
coach,
any longevity tips?
he did. Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Okay, I'll have to listen. I'll have to listen.
He did, and he mentioned about playing for Ireland, or the potential of playing for Ireland at that time, and basically why he didn't. And yeah, I couldn't argue with what he said. It all made good. He made very good points, very insightful. Yeah, I like how he approaches the game when he was getting older, to now how he's coaching, and yeah, it's just a really good interview. I can't say enough on it.
I'll make sure I listen.
Go give it a watch. But yeah, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're over on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Even myself and Andy are also on TikTok as well. Go and give him a follow at Rugby Knows, because his knowledge is second to none. His breakdown of games is brilliant, to the point I can't do videos because I think I'm copying him. But he's he's a stand-up guy, so yeah, give him a follow. And that's it, Rugby Connection podcast, and we'll see you next week.